Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
All right, episode 478, The Differences in the Details. 3, 2, 1.
What's wrong with this coffee? Derek, get over here. This is awful. You're in charge of coffee. It doesn't taste right.
Well, we could try this.
What is that?
It's a fresh hot cup of details.
It's got to be better than that. Let her rip.
All right, give that a shot.
All right, let's see what happens here. Oh, yeah, I like it.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the WorryFree Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
What comes to mind when you hear the following words? Soda, Coke, soft drink, cola, or soda pop? Well, for me, I think back to those lazy summer days at my granddad's home in Troy, Kentucky, and running up to the local Troy General Store with my brother Marty, grabbing a soda, my favorite back then was called Tiger Red, and a bag full of Tom's Toasted Peanuts, and then telling my Uncle Marion, who ran the little store, to charge it to Granddad's account. After a few pleasantries with Uncle Marion and hearing all the old codgers sitting around on the front porch of the making up of stories they had, me and Marty would head on back up the driveway to Granddad's front porch, pop open those cold soft drinks, and enjoy the sweet nectar Granddad would have to pay for at the end of each month. I am sure he just loved that. There was something almost magical about the taste back then, that combination of a sweet, cold drink that seemed to cool off a hot summer day. In fact, back in the 60s, these drinks were a real treat as they were sometimes hard to come by. Whereas today, just about every restaurant and convenience store you walk into has a large variety of soft drinks to choose from, back then the selections were limited. Today, there's hundreds of places offering various flavors of sodas, like this. Pineapple Pepsi, or about this one, Strawberry Sprite. Yet after all these years of experimenting with different tastes and methods for mixing them together, there is one place in town that soft drinks just seem to taste better. It is the home of the world's most favorite fast food clown, that's right, McDonald's. So what's the secret ingredient McDonald's uses to produce such wonderful soft drinks? It is the same ingredients you will need for your money as well. That's right, it's all in the details. Well, welcome folks to the Worry-Free Retirement, and yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, soda pop detail specialist and full-time fiduciary, Tony Walker. And before we share with you the details behind our operation and why so many savers trust us with their money, let me introduce two gentlemen who are loving it as they produce this show each and every week. America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander, and Louisville, Kentucky's most laid-back graphics artist, Mr. Derek Hudson. Okay, I'm sure by now you are curious as to what the details of McDonald's consistently good-tasting soft drinks have to do with a show focused on helping savers be worry-free in retirement. Hey, don't look at me. Blame our own Aaron Orander, who stumbled across this article titled, "There's a Reason McDonald's Cokes Taste Better Than the Others." Like many of you, I have enjoyed McDonald's soft drinks for years, and yes, I've even noticed that the Coke from the home of the Golden Arches just has a little something different to it. Now, curious as to why they are so darn good, this article shares the secret details why McDonald's produces a better tasting Coke, and it is simply the way they handle their carbonated drinks versus the other fast food joints. According to this article, there's a few extra steps, a few distinct details they take and pay for, mind you, that allows them to produce and serve a product that seems to stand out. Which is the title of our show, reflecting the same detail we at Tony Walker Financial go into creating our spectacular and refreshing written game plans that savers everywhere are truly hooked on. So what is the secret sauce that makes our work for savers so worry-free in retirement? Well, stay tuned to find out. I'm Tony Walker. We'll be right back. You've worked hard your entire life. Now, let us work hard for you. My name is Tony Walker, and if you're looking for a game plan that can provide you peace of mind, look no further. Whether it's rolling over your 401k plan, reducing risk, or just setting up a plan that includes mailbox money for life, we're here to help. To speak with me at no cost or obligation, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and click on that Let's Get Started button or call the number on your screen. We look forward to talking with you soon. Our Live Well, Die Broke moment features one of our most key employees ever at Tony Walker Financial, Miss Connie Fortney, who, after faithfully serving the needs of Tony Walker Financial by attending to all of the details required to serve more than 3,000 savers, decided to hang it up and retire. My first ever employee at Tony Walker Financial to do so. And as a tribute to Connie's tireless efforts and attention to detail, we sent out an email blast to all of our clients and had hundreds of well-wishers to comment on Connie's retirement. This one was a really cool one from our good client and friend, Mr. Warren Kimmel, who said, "It was good getting to work with you since starting investing at Tony Walker. I've talked with you several times over the phone, and you were always a great help for me. I'm sure you will be missed. If I can recommend a great company to handle all your retirement needs, try Tony Walker Financial. Now you can enjoy retirement like the rest of it." Now, as Connie recently addressed our entire Bowling Green staff for the last time, I was impressed that her closing comments to the staff were as follows. "Never forget that you work for a man that demands perfection in your work, and in exchange for your hard work here, he pays really well, lets us off on Fridays, and shares in the profits by providing quarterly bonuses to all staff, something I'll always be grateful for." Oh, speaking of pursuing perfection, I recently contracted with well-known Kentucky author Gary West to write a book about the makings and philosophy behind Tony Walker Financial, and it's called Expect the Best. The book, which will be out in late September, can be purchased from any major bookseller. So let's go back to our opening monologue and this notion of why the sodas at McDonald's are so darn good. Incidentally here, it might surprise you that one of the biggest fans of McDonald's and a variety of other alleged unhealthy foods and treats is 92-year-old famed investor Warren Buffett. Check out this guy's diet. He drinks 5 Cokes a day and pretty much every food you're not supposed to. Notice that Mr. Buffett attributes lots of the sweets, as my uncle used to call them, to a longer life. And finally, since we're on the fast food kick, one more shocker. Look at this discovery. In the state of Kentucky, per capita, we have more fast food joints than anybody. Can I get a drum roll, please? Okay, let's get back to the secret to McDonald's wonderful tasting sodas. Turns out McDonald's has an intricate process behind these consistently wonderful tasting sodas, one involving a special syrup delivery, precise filtration systems, and meticulous temperature control. Sounds like a lot of trouble and detail behind the scenes just for a soda. Well, to me, it's a wonderful reminder of how when any organization takes the necessary steps to learn how the devils are in the details, those details can produce a product that, well, it just tastes better. In fact, as I think about the attention to detail and the proprietary process McDonald's goes through to produce those great tasting Cokes, it reminds me of the many details and efforts that we at Tony Walker Financial go through to assure savers that we are the best around at helping them map out their retirement plans and be there when they need us. So let's compare what you can expect from us at Tony Walker Financial versus what you might get in return from what we call one of the many McMoney managers out there offering to handle your money. So let's take a look at some of the things that you need to be aware of before hiring any financial advisor. First of all, TWF stands for Tony Walker Financial, and we are independent. Now, this is really important. We do not work for the insurance companies that we are contracted with. Certainly, we have contracts with them. We are insurance agents. They pay us commissions, but we can choose to work with just about any insurance company out there. If they try to tell us to sell certain products, we don't have to do that because we are independent. As well, we are independent of Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab is just the custodian that handles all the investments for our clients, but technically, we don't work with Charles Schwab. We work for you. Now, can you say that about other money managers out there? I'm not sure. You'll have to ask them. But the problem can arise where money managers, advisors, they are employed by larger institutions and they are told sometimes what to do and what to sell. So at Tony Walker Financial, we are independent and we are working in your best interest. Number two, the annual fee charge. Now again, I can't speak for other money managers, but some of these fees I've seen can be as high as 2 and 3% per year, while ours are 0.8% to manage your money through Charles Schwab. So let's do some quick math. Let's say you put $300,000 in our Charles Schwab platform. We're going to charge $2,400 a year to manage it. Now that's to pick all the funds, do the distributions, calculate the tax withholdings. We do it all for 0.8%. Well, let's say you're paying 2% somewhere, that $300,000, they're going to be charging you $6,000 a year. So be sure you get those fees in writing and make sure those fees are competitive and compatible with the services they are offering. Next, free written game plan. Can't say enough about this. And in fact, what's alarming sometimes is people come to me, maybe they're out shopping for an advisor, and I'll say, well, have you received any written game plans from anybody? They'll say, well, no. Or they'll say, well, they won't give me the game plan unless I move the money over to them first. Folks, that's insane. You want to make sure you see some sort of written game plan before ever committing your funds to any financial advisor. Next, meet with the owner. Now, I don't know if you can do this with most companies, but I am the sole owner of Tony Walker Financial. I've been doing this almost 40 years, and at any time, not only will new prospects get to meet with me, but anytime a client wants to meet with me, all they got to do is call the office, tell the office they need to schedule an appointment with me. I'm happy to meet with our clients or prospective clients at any time. This is a biggie right here. Not only am I a fiduciary, but we have 3 other fiduciaries, and they all work on a salary basis. We do not pay them commissions. They're not prompted to sell certain products so they can make more money. They stand alone to work with our clients on the game plan. Remember, a retirement planning specialist such as us, we focus on the game plan first, the investments second. They are trained by yours truly and how to monitor those game plans and make sure the investments are right for you based on your personalized game plan. And finally, we're a full-service retirement planning firm. Folks, a lot of people can say they do retirement planning, but the meat and potatoes and the details, like we talked about with folks like Connie Fortney and all the other staff we have now at Tony Walker Financial, we impress upon our staff that these details are very important, and most of our clients really appreciate the fact that we stay on top of these plans, we make sure the details are taken care of, and we do all of that at no additional out-of-pocket cost to you. So maybe you're sitting there thinking, yeah, Tony, I don't really have anybody I feel is in my corner who's working in my best interest. Why don't you do this right now? Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, and what you're going to do is click on that Let's Get Started button. And when you click on that, it's confidentially sent to our offices, and we will arrange what we call a free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. And at that point, if it warrants, if we feel like we can be of help to you, we're going to be able to meet with you in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. So do it now, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or call the number on your screen. Well, we spent some time talking about the difference between maybe what Tony Walker Financial does versus a typical money manager, and this is really key. Most people don't understand how we're all set up to make money on your money. So I'm going to show you how all of this industry works, how advisors are paid, and why you better understand how the advisor giving the advice is paid before taking them up on their advice. Let's get the whiteboard out and I'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. This is kind of a Tony in the trenches of sorts. A really interesting article that just came out. We're recording this show, by the way, on August 29th, 2023. Just came out yesterday as I was preparing for the show. It says almost half of retirees want to go back to work, and not always for money. You know, something I've always said on this show is a lot of things we do in life are really not about the money. It's about personal fulfillment and serving the needs of others. And we're starting to see this in our work. You know, we have over 3,000 clients, and many of those clients are already retired, and some of them have done just that. They've gone back to work, usually part-time, to fulfill some sort of goal. Maybe they just want to get busy. Maybe their spouse is running them out of the household, or whatever the case may be. But there's nothing wrong with going back to work to supplement your income. But again, this is why somebody like this probably needs a retirement planning specialist, because let's say you're 65 years of age, better age, and you're already drawing your Social Security. Maybe you're retired, didn't think you would ever go back to work, and now you're going to go back to work. Well, there are income limitations that you need to be aware of before full retirement age, before you can just rush back to work and make boatloads of money. This is the kind of stuff we can help with at Tony Walker Financial. So really good article there. Now the next article, we just referred to this earlier, talking about all of these fast food joints in Kentucky, and by per capita, it sounds like Kentucky's got more of them than any place around, which kind of segues nicely into the dilemma you might have right now if you're retired or retiring soon. And that's, let's say you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, where we're recording this show on Shelbyville Road. And we have figured, looking through our research, that just within a 10-mile radius of Louisville, Kentucky, there are more than 2,000 financial advisors. So I got to put myself in your shoes and thinking, what in the world are you going to do? And how are you going to find an advisor that is working in your best interest? Well, on the last segment, we covered this little graphic. This is one place to start. Mainly, it's all about disclosure, trying to find out if these people are independent. Are they captive to certain other companies? Can they sell a multitude of products? What are their fees? What is their setup? What is their attention to details? Do they even have a process? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what I thought I would do, kind of dovetailing on this point, we're going to walk over to the whiteboard. And I want to kind of help you understand this difference between someone, an advisor who is captive or beholden to one particular company, which again, nothing necessarily wrong with this. Don't get me wrong. So if you've got an advisor, an agent that has to work with one company, a big institution, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just trying to share with you exactly what can happen in terms of getting a broad scope of products and services. Or somebody who is independent of all of these companies. I can work with anybody I want, assuming they're wanting to contract with us. Some insurance companies are captive, and unless you put all your business with them, they won't let you be. So there are certain companies out there, even if I wanted to write their products, I couldn't, because I've got to agree to do all my business with them, which I'm not going to do that. Oh, good example of this. Years ago, I had a good friend of mine, and he was very, very well known in the life insurance business, worked for a very large life insurance company, a very good company, by the way. And over the years, he'd sold a lot of business. And with life insurance companies, when you sell a lot of business, you get what's called renewal commissions. So as long as people keep those policies, you can make tremendous amount of renewal commissions each year. I'll call him Jim, which Jim did. Now, Jim apparently had a spouse of a client who passed away. The client came to him and received a lot of money and needed somewhere for Jim to invest it. And he said, Jim, I want some of these new fixed indexed annuities that came out. This was back in the late 90s when these products were first introduced. So Jim says, we don't sell those products. And the guy said, well, hey, Jim, I'm going to buy them from somewhere. And this was a large transaction. I'll show you this in a minute, how much commission's involved in this stuff. So Jim, unbeknownst to him, went out and found a company that sold these products because his current captive company did not. Didn't know any difference, just sold the products. Well, the captive company found out in the contract, they canceled his contract without cause. Jim was out of the world of for that particular company and lost all of those renewal commissions. So was that a good or bad thing? Well, the point was, if an agent or an advisor is captive to a company, you've got to realize they are employed by that company. Whereas an independent financial fiduciary, I like to say, I'm employed by you. I'm not beholden to Charles Schwab or the insurance companies. Granted, we have to stay on the up and up with them and all that type of thing, but we're not beholden to have to sell a particular product or use a particular company. That's why for years I've always been independent. So what I want to do in our time remaining is just think a little bit about what's going on now, especially in the annuity world, because there's more and more people selling annuities. Even these big financial institutions. Had someone come in the other day and say, Tony, I didn't think some of these big financial institutions liked annuities. I was just pitched an annuity by recently one of these big financial institutions that years ago tended to bash them. Why is that? The reason you're starting to see more and more annuities is, number one, they are great products in the right situation, but it's about money. It always comes down to money. So what we're going to do, we're going to imagine you take $100,000 and you're going to put it either with an insurance agent. You have to be a licensed agent to sell annuities that works for a captive company or one like us that's independent. What happens exactly? Well, depending on the type of annuity, that annuity might pay a 6% commission. So that would be $6,000 that's paid to the company. All right, keep this in mind. So let's say our good friend Jim, he was employed by a company. The company, the captive company, got the $6,000, okay, depending on Jim's production. I don't know, he might have gotten $3,000 of that, and the other $3,000 went to the bottom line of the company. Now, how would that work at Tony Walker Financial? We're independent. Let's say the commission on that product is still $6,000, but that amount of money, there is a small amount. We have to go through marketing agencies to get these. A small amount is skimmed off the top, but more of that comes over to us because we're running the show. We pay for all of our own compliance, pay for all of our own marketing, advertising, and then all of the staff. This is the key. The reason I need that extra money is to pay for all this staff that we hire so that we can make sure those details are taken care of. So my philosophy has always been, I'm going to work really hard. We're going to get really, really good at what we're going to do. But I'm going to spend any extra money that's paid to us because we're independent on our staff so that that staff can provide the services you expect. So that's you right now. If you're thinking, gosh, I didn't know there's this much money flying around in the financial world and everybody's making this much money. Yeah, I want more services than I'm getting for the bang for the buck. Why don't you do this right now? Why don't you log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Let's talk about our services. We call this the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. There's no obligation. Again, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or give us a call on the toll-free number on your screen. Well, we've talked a lot about details and key employees and staff, and how do leaders really become successful without these key people? Well, the Bible is going to remind us that they don't. Good stuff coming your way. I'll be right back, but first I don't think I'm going to get a cup of coffee. I'm going to go see if there's any of those Tiger Reds out there. I'll be right back.
Tired of the roller coaster ride of the stock market? Let Tony Walker show you how to smooth out the ride with your money. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started.
Earlier in the show, our Live Well, Die Broke moment featured my first employee to ever retire from Tony Walker Financial, a young lady who each day at work faithfully served our organization by carrying out the many details required to assist our more than 3,000 saver clients, Miss Connie Fortney. And as I think about all that Connie brought to work each day, an attitude of staying focused on the details of handling the many tasks throughout our operation, and as such, I am keenly aware of the importance of hiring staff that are wired for detail and know how to stay focused on the task at hand. One of the tools I use to help hire such detailed individuals is a personality test of sorts called the Colby exam. I myself took this exam some 20 years ago to confirm my unique ability as well as my staff so that we might use our strengths to better serve the needs of our clients. You know, the Bible speaks to this notion of making sure that leaders equip their followers to manage the details of any operation and mission in life, as we see this play out in the book of Numbers, where Moses is given the responsibility by God to watch over his people and adhere to his commandments. Interesting, like any good leader getting ready to head off on a mission, the first thing Moses orders his followers to do is to take a census of the people and who they must work with. You know, at Tony Walker Financial, we take the same approach. I'm making sure that all of our staff know who our clients are and how best to serve the more than 3,000 clients we are tasked to serve. One way we keep a census of everything is through extensive client data management software that allows us to track all the details and duties of what our clients expect from us. In fact, as we planned our 4 different client appreciation events this year, we took a census of who was attending and at which event. A very arduous task indeed, but one that we had to undertake. And the role our staff plays in tracking all these details is of utmost importance to the mission at hand. Check it out in Numbers 4:16, where Moses assigns to one of his followers by the name of Eleazar the daily tasks of keeping the lights on in the wilderness. A seemingly insignificant daily task, but one, no doubt, that is essential to the people Moses was trying to lead. You see, like Moses, one thing I have learned in nearly 40 years of working in the financial business is this. In order to be successful in serving more and more clients, one must employ good people who are attentive to details and want to make sure they get those details right. Because not only are handling the daily details of life and work essential to a successful operation, they are also necessary to whatever the mission is at hand, whether it is serving savers or serving God. And maybe that is you right now, whether you are in a position of leadership or a follower of someone who is. Know this, Christian, God is honored by both those who lead and those who carry out the daily tasks to make things happen. So whether you are retired from work, thinking of retiring, or maybe, as one of our articles talked about, thinking of going back to work. Or how about this? Maybe you're that person who is simply staying at home taking care of grandkids or volunteering at church or your favorite charity. Never, ever discount the work you do for others, no matter how insignificant those daily tasks you do might appear. You be confident in the fact that God is honored by your works and your faithfulness to the task at hand. And in the end, whether you're receiving glowing awards for your work now or feel like nobody is even noticing, God notices, and one day you and I will look forward to be greeted on the shores of heaven, where we will receive the ultimate reward for our efforts here on earth. And folks, that's some really good news you and I can take to the bank. Amen? Well, speaking of some good news you can take to the bank, I've got some good news. How about talking to me in person over the phone about the detailed work we provide at Tony Walker Financial and how we help so many savers worry less about money? We call this the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call, and here's how easy it is to learn more about our work. First, you can log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, and while there, just click on that Let's Get Started button, and that information is confidentially forwarded to our offices in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where we will arrange a phone call with myself, that's right, the owner of the company, to find out if we can be of help. And if we can, we're going to meet in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. So take advantage of this free offer. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or simply call the toll-free number on your screen. Well, we certainly enjoyed being with you, but you remember, between now and next week, if all else fails, you be worry-free and make it a good one.